Are you struggling to lose weight and nothing seems to work? You try these different workouts and different diets, but you have no results to show? Then this video is for you. I used to look like this. I had no confidence whatsoever, and I used to hate how my body looked. But if you fast forward, this is what my body looks like right now. I have way more confidence, I get way more attention, and I'm not afraid to take my shirt off. If you keep watching, I'm going to share exactly how I did it, so you can get way faster results than I did. Part number 1, mindset. I remember years ago when I first started thinking about working out. I think I was about 17 and in high school. And at the time, I was so shy and had no confidence whatsoever. I was just this really insecure kid who didn't like his body whatsoever. The only thing that I did, after school was just to play video games for like 10 hours straight. And then I just ate a bunch of junk food. And it came to a point in my life where I was so tired of looking the same year after year that something just had to change. So what I started doing was watching fitness videos on YouTube. How to lose fat, how to gain muscle, how to do this exercise, how to do this diet, like all these different things about fitness. Because in my mind, I thought that if I just learn more things about fitness, that I would get faster results. But here's the truth, that was completely wrong. And so what ended up happening was that I started binge watching these fitness videos, right? And I managed to trick my brain into thinking that I was actually making progress without me even stepping inside the gym, when that was far from the truth. It became this procrastination that just went on for weeks and weeks and weeks at a time. I remember talking with my dad about it, and he has pretty much worked out like his entire life, right? And he told me one very important thing: stick to the basics and don't complicate it. What's the point of you learning like this diet and this exercise and this routine and this and that if you're not even going to the gym to begin with? If you want my help to build a body that gives you more confidence and attention, then just DM me on Instagram. I'll put my username on the screen right here, but also in the description. To get the most out of your transformation, these are the things that I would follow. Number 1, ease yourself into it. The biggest mistake that I did when I first started working out was that I went 100% right from the start. I started eating like chicken, broccoli, and rice every single day. And I started working out 5 days a week right from the start without having like any experience whatsoever. So can you guess what happened? It only took me 2 weeks to stop being consistent with the routine I had, because it was too much at the start and I just decided to quit. What I should have done instead is just ease myself into it. Instead of starting with like 5 days a week right away, I should have started with maybe 2 or 3 days a week and done that consistently. You're not getting out of shape in just a couple of weeks. It takes you months and years. So you're not gonna look your best in just a couple of weeks either, right? It's better to just slowly remove the bad habits and add the good ones instead of like going completely 100% from the start. Number 2, consistency is king. You can have the best workout plan and the best diet to ever exist, but if you don't have consistency, they are both just useless. Don't turn your life completely upside down from the start because you're not gonna be consistent. I like to personally think about it like building blocks. Finish building one block before you add another one, and then you finish that one, and then you add another one. This is the key to consistency. Learn from my mistakes and don't research so much. You think that you're actually making progress, but in reality, the best thing you can do is to show up at the gym without knowing like anything at all and just learning along the way, because then you're at least taking action instead of procrastinating. The only time that I would actually start researching is when I'm going consistently to the gym. What's the point of learning this exercise and this routine and this stretch if you're not even going to use them properly inside the gym? Number 3, make it a lifestyle and not something temporary. I want you to have the mindset of longevity. We want to stay healthy and look good for as long as possible, right? And the only way we can do that is by making it enjoyable for ourselves. Here's the problem. Too many people think of it like something you do for a limited time and then you decide to quit. And when you quit all the good habits that got you in shape to begin with, what do you think is going to happen? All that weight is just slowly coming back again. And then you're in this bad cycle of getting in shape and out of shape over and over and over. How you stop this from happening is by focusing on making it enjoyable. Because, if it's not enjoyable, you're not going to be consistent. And if you're not consistent, you're not going to get the results that you want. So my advice, Think about it in long term, months or years, instead of thinking like weeks and days. Because if you do that, you're only going to get disappointed more than anything else. This mindset shift, of thinking long term instead of short term and actually making it enjoyable for yourself, this was a big reason how I went from looking like this to now looking like this. Part number 2, diet. This completely depends on how you look and what kind of goals you have. But for me personally, I was too fat, right? So I decided to cut. How I did this? I ate a little bit less and I moved my body more. But let's say if you're on the other side, you're skinny and you want to get bigger, right? Then you eat a bit more and move your body less. Now here's the thing that most people complicate when it comes to bulking or cutting. They don't eat the foods that they enjoy. If you eat the foods that you enjoy, it's so much easier to stay consistent. So just look up different recipes on YouTube that are actually healthy and tasty to make with the foods that you enjoy eating. Now besides, eating the foods that you actually enjoy and making healthy recipes out of them, you have to cut out the junk food and sugar as much as possible. This is the number one thing that stops you from getting results right now. Because, back in the day when I was fat, I just kept eating trash every single day. And no wonder that my body looked like complete shit. Right now, I eat clean about 6 days a week. And when I mean clean, I mean whole foods like chicken, beef, fish, rice, and so on. Not these weird processed foods with like 10,000 different ingredients in them. However, on Sundays, I like to treat myself. But when I say treat myself, I don't mean like a complete cheat day, right? I mean just having something small. If I want a bit of ice cream, I'm going to have ice cream. If I want a piece of cake, I'm going to have some cake. And doing it like this way, 6 days a week, eating clean, and then on Sundays, I treat myself. It keeps me so much more accountable because I actually have a reward at the end of the week, that I'm working towards. When it comes to eating the food itself, I focus on eating as much protein as possible. And why this is important is because number 1, it will help you build more muscle. But most importantly, number 2, it will keep you full for as long as possible. Compared to fats, carbs, and protein, protein is the number 1 thing that's going to keep you more full, more than anything else. Some tricks that you can think about when it comes to protein. Let's say if you want to gain more weight, then focus on eating protein that has more fat in them. Instead of eating chicken breast, you eat chicken thighs and so on. And the other thing comes when you want to lose weight, for example. Go for the ones with less fat, like chicken breast, and instead of like eating salmon, for example, then you eat white fish instead. Now here's the thing, if you are like me and get cravings a lot, right? I noticed one thing that really helped me with this, and that is to drink more water. Usually when I get cravings and I want to eat everything in the house, I just drink a big glass of water and it usually goes away. But let's say you still have cravings afterwards, then just be smart and go for a healthier option. Have some fruit, or my personal favorite, I take some Greek yogurt and just drizzle a little bit of honey on tops, and that usually does it. Improving your diet will give you good results, but if you pair it with the next thing I'm going to talk about, then you will get even better results. Part number 3, training. When you really think about it, losing fat and building muscle, that's like the ultimate combo, right? Because what's the point of looking lean if we don't have any muscle whatsoever? Then we're just going to look skinny. Or if we gain weight without gaining any muscle, then we're just going to look fat. When it comes to the training itself, I recommend you to focus on compound lifts. What this basically means is that you do exercises that use multiple muscles at the same time. Things like bench press, deadlifts, squats, overhead press, and so many different ones. Why you want to focus on these exercises is because they are the most bang for your buck. How many days you should work out completely depends on your starting point. What I recommend most people to do is to start with 3 days a week, because you can always increase it later. There is no point of you starting with 5 days a week right from the start, because you're only gonna end up quitting. And remember what we talked about. The most important thing here is consistency over anything else. Focus on good form and technique before you start adding weight, because if you lift too heavy and you have bad form, you're only gonna injure yourself. And if you injure yourself, you're going to have to take months and months off the gym to recover. But let's say if you lift with good form instead, you're going to build muscle so much faster. And what does building muscle mean? You get way faster results. Now here's the truth. No one gives a shit about you ego lifting, lifting heavy weights with bad form. What is impressive, however, if you can lift it with good form. How we keep making progress is by thinking about progressive overload. This is basically just a fancy word for doing more than we did the last workout. And how do we actually track this? I personally track this by writing down the exercise on the notes in my phone. I write the exercise name. Next to that, I have the sets and the reps. And next to that, I have the weight. This is an easy way for me to track my previous workout so I know how much more I need to do the next one. Why it's so important to have progressive overload when it comes to the gym is because eventually your body gets used to the weight and the sets that you do. So you have to make it more challenging for yourself in order for your muscles to keep growing. And this is one of the biggest mistakes that stopped me from getting results for months at a time, because I kept just doing the same weights and reps over and over and over, and I wondered why I didn't see any progress. Part number 4, supplements. Quick disclaimer, this is what I personally take and it's not professional advice. In order for me to keep my protein intake high, I use whey protein. It's easy and convenient to use, and I just keep it very simple by mixing it with oatmeal in the morning. And this is a very good pre-workout meal. Now, of course, using protein powder is not necessary whatsoever. You can just eat more food. But if you feel like you want that extra protein boost, like me personally, then I really recommend you to get it. Just having more protein equals more muscle, so why not? The next thing I use is creatine, and this is one of the most researched supplements out there. It helps with strength, it helps with muscle, and it also helps with brain performance. Now again, this is not necessary to use whatsoever, but if you can get a small boost to improve your physique faster, then why not use it? There's tons and tons of research out there, so you can just look it up for yourself. The most important thing that I want you to remember is to think long term and ease yourself into it. Make it a lifestyle where you actually enjoy what you're doing, and I promise you, you will get the results that you want. If you want my help to build a body that gets you more confidence and attention, then just DM me on Instagram. I'll put my username on the screen right here, but also in the description. If you found this video helpful, then why not press subscribe? And thanks for watching.